You could do a 1, 2, 3, 4. Read a clap.
Hello.
We're in time now. Are we actually rolling? Okay, sick. Hello and welcome to Serpent Temple. I'm here with Coffin Mulch.
Hello.
Hiya.
Please introduce yourselves for the
I'm
lovely
Richard,
listeners.
and I play the bass.
I'm Fraser, I play drums.
I'm Nina, I'm in this podcast.
I'm Floyd, I'm also part of this podcast.
Hey, cool. So, you know we do Psycard readings?
Yes.
Do you want to know a little bit more about Psycards? Are you
A wee bit,
okay?
Yeah.
So basically they're based on the Jungian archetypes. It's not like tarot. It's similar, but it's not. So they're based on sort of like Jung found a lot of his patients dreamed of the same symbols, themes, things like that, even if they had no prior knowledge of such things. So you have stuff like mother, father, life, death, loads of cool artwork. So we'll pull 3 cards, maybe 4 if we have time. And I have a book. I'll read you the description and you can vibe. Just tell me how that makes you feel. If it's like to do with music or personal life, we'd love to know.
Okay.
Yeah, but first, how was playing Damnation?
It was pretty good. We were on first. The crowd was pretty... It was quite a big crowd as far as we could see. Sounded good. I think we played pretty well.
Aye, totally. It was nice to get it done early, get it out of the way and just enjoy the rest of the day, but a bit of a different gig for us as well. You know, we're used to playing like small rooms where like fucking owls falling into the drum kit and stuff like that. So it was weird that he was like 10 feet away. But it was sick. It was really
That's
good.
right, because you guys played the church in Dundee, right? Supporting
Yeah,
Carcass, because my parents are from Dundee.
All
So
right.
it was, and I was thinking, trust the one time I'm not visiting them in Carcass, I fucking
Can't
rolling
play
into
Dundee.
town.
Yeah, it was a bit wild. Like, I'd never been to that venue, but it wasn't that... I mean, it's still bigger than what we normally play, but seeing them in such a small place was pretty wild, so yeah.
I loved the electronic banner you guys had with the big slab of meat. How did that kind of come about?
I never even saw it. Did it work?
Yeah, it was on. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we did our first show, Al took a video, our singer took a video of it's a decomposing brain, and he stretched it out for 30 minutes. So kind of goes with the mulchy name, like here's a mulchy brain. And so when they said we could do something for the backdrop, we're like, oh yeah, we'll get the brain superimposed over the name. And yeah, so I totally forgot.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
I didn't see it, but it's like right behind me.
Yeah. So that's good. Yeah. So whoever saw the backdrop, I hope you liked it.
Well, should we get into the Psycards
Yeah,
then?
go for it.
So we'll do a past, present, future. Or I
Okay.
might give you a double future, like one future each.
Okay.
So who wants to have the past?
You can go first, Fraser.
You take past.
Did I reveal it?
Reveal the past. Fortune.
give you that. You can talk about that.
I will read you
Fortune.
number 12, which is Fortune. We literally just had this card and need to shuffle the deck back. You shuffled it. All right, I'm not at fault here. So you really will get Fortune in
It
your
was
past.
meant to be.
It was meant to be. Yes, meant to be. Fortune. A seeker, lantern in hand, is shown ascending a winding staircase leading up to a garret where a treasure chest is waiting. The card signifies the quest ending in fulfillment. It stands for success achieved by good luck, persistence, and an increase in wealth.
Well, I'm in the process of it. Yeah. I guess that's... these all feel pretty true. I think... I don't know. Surely it'd be hard to disagree with the sort of ideology that, like, setting out on some upward spiral staircase where you're having to persist and put in the work and effort and stuff like that. You like to think that ultimately it's going towards the goals you're trying to get. I'd like to think that was true. I think the staircase is probably never going to end. That's like, maybe that's past all the way to future and beyond. Yeah, I hope it bodes well.
If you did achieve all your goals, what would you do after that? Maybe it's a good thing it never ends, right?
Yeah, because if it got to an ending point and you were like, oh, I didn't achieve that, that'd just be pretty shit, I guess. You'd get there
Pretty
and be a
shit.
bit unfulfilled. Yeah. So maybe it's best that the staircase keeps going and then all of a sudden we stop being here. We're
just die.
You're still on the staircase though.
You're still on but then you become mulch.
Yeah, and then you become some kind of mulch. Maybe in a coffin or something.
Maybe in a coffin.
I think that's what it is, right?
Staircase mulch.
For the sake of you know, and just in pure typical like death metal band, yeah, we're all going to turn to mulch. That's what that is. Dead bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did it come about with Dan Swano mastering the...
Again, that was Al. He basically just wrote to him and said, "Would you like to master an LP?" And he went, "Yes."
Oh, fuck.
So,
Nice.
Kind of. What's the?
Cool.
Al's really big at the edge of sanity.
Yeah.
So we went that way, and like, if you're going to get somebody to master a death metal record, he's pretty much the guy to do it. But yeah, we thought like, oh, it's going to take ages, and it was like a week later, and he's like, "Oh, it's done."
Yeah.
And he was like super sound and did a really good job.
That was like the fastest part.
Yeah. Most definitely. Like we did think it'd take ages because he's going to be busy, but I guess it's one of those kind of things. Like to somebody who likes death metal, it's Dan Swano, but that's his job. So,
Yeah.
Would you like a job? Yes, please.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd like to master your record. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, so sometimes you kind of forget that side of it because you're dealing with someone who was perhaps in a band that has a bit of influence and stuff, but you're like, yeah, that's my job, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, it was cool. So, pretty quick, so we're quite chuffed with that.
Oh, cool.
Do you want to go to the
All right,
present?
yeah, I'll go to the next one. So, I've got the tree.
The tree. Oh, that's cool. Number 23. Trees grow from mulch.
Oh, yeah.
They do.
There we go. It's
Yeah.
all tying in.
Oh, it's all coming together. Okay, a stylized tree with roots and foliage equally emphasized is shown. This card symbolizes growth, knowledge, and development. It is a tree of life with its roots deep in the soil and past, giving strength to its branches. It stands for tradition, protection, and strength of the family tree that links all men together.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a present kind of thing. I don't know if it's a kind of way that... I suppose I'm the oldest person in the band. So I would say maybe I am tree-like in the band, as in which the younger leaves sprout from, but the kind of trunk's always kind of there. And we go, come on, lads. So, I don't know. Maybe a bit like that. You know, I'm kind of like, do we really want to do that? Or do we want to do that? I'm just going to stay here, stick some roots. Let's just... I think... And it's, I suppose, again, maybe roots of it music-wise... I've been into this probably a lot, like death metal kind of stuff. The genre that we played maybe a lot longer than kind of Fraser stuff. So there's a bit in like experimental stuff. Like let's think outside the box. Where, you know, I remember buying Scream Bloody Gore when I was 13.
Wow.
So you know that kind of stuff. Just like you were, yeah. Fraser was a fetus, and I was busy getting battered at high school. So you know, it's, the joys of living in the early 80s, mid to late 80s. Sorry, as a heavy metal fan. So yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so was death your introduction into like the...
Death metal for me? It certainly was. Like around that kind of. I'm trying to think. It would be like Autopsy, Death, more Leprosy. That kind of came out when I was at high school. And my friend, you know, one guy buys it and the rest of us tape it. So, but I like side 2 more than I like side 1, so I taped side 2 first. So I listened to the album back to front for about like 10 years until I could afford a copy of my own. And then I kind of bit through that. We got into like Entombed and Napalm Death and that kind of stuff. But yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that was my early kind of thing.
Yeah, Nina's got the best introduction into metal. Her 2 bands.
System of a Down and Akakoka.
That's it. Well, everybody's, you know.
An early point.
First bands I ever listened
Yeah. First band you ever listened to, not even just metal.
to. No, just first. Well, I mean, Evanescence maybe, but those were the metal bands I listened to.
Wait, I
My
think
favourite.
System of a Down are amazing. Absolutely
Oh, they're
great
so
bands.
good, right?
Yeah.
What's your favourite album of theirs? Name 3 songs? Joking. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
I don't know. I had the first one I got, which I guess is like, I don't know, like when you're young and very impressionable and stuff like that. I got that Toxicity one.
I got that too. I think that was my first one.
I think that was probably like, and as well, I would have been like super young. I think that was probably like, maybe not just out, but that was quite recent. And at the time, like their early stuff was probably, I don't know when they were releasing their first albums, but I was probably still shitting my pants. Like, so that was pretty relevant for me at the time. And I guess like I don't know, when I had that in CD from when I was young, and when I got like a car for the first time, I had an old CD player. Like, you know, cars used to have CD players. Yeah, I've still got a CD player, to be fair. But you know, that was like I got that at such a young age, and then it was like one of the CDs that might still be in the glove box of like my current motor and stuff. So probably that, just as a timeless.
It is, and they're so like fuck you in their approach to like songwriting and just in general. I feel like they stood out from a lot of like other bands in their genre.
I think the thing that attracted me to like more like things like death metal or more extreme music at the start was like the oddness of it, the sort of like weird appeal and stuff like that. So you can obviously do it in like quite musically conventional styles or whatever, be quite conventionally a death metal band or a grind band, but it's very extreme. But then it's ultimately like it's pushing the boundary in an extreme sense, whereas they're kind of doing it not trying to just be fucking heavier than everyone else, but just like be a bit more oddball, like play something that someone wasn't expecting. So after hearing heavy bands for the first time, that was like really cool to hear a heavy band do something that just was weird also, not just getting heavier and heavier, but getting weirder.
I think lyrically though, like at that kind of time, I mean, I got their first one when it came out, we saw them that, but they were different from the rest of that kind of bands as well, so that would then lead you on to what you're kind of like, the one in Cold Chamber, or, you know, or even Korn, or that kind of, I didn't really like, I was a wee bit old for most of that kind of stuff. I like something like System of a Down, because it had that element of, we were talking about this the other day, like the dead Kennedys.
Love them.
So
he like talks. He does like spoken word and
and the lyrics were a bit more like, oh yeah, it's not just about Adidas or maggots or like
super good foods.
The roof or the loco. Yeah, I think so.
I love that about it.
I think so.
I was really attracted to like the more political metal when I was younger. Like the Rage Against the Machine was like a huge intro to like the heavy music for me as well. Yeah.
I remember when they played it in Radio 1 by accident. Killing in the name. Bruno Brooks, there's a name, old people. Bruno Brooks played it in the radio, and it was like fucking like the Tea Time Top 40. And all you heard was like, "Fuck you! What do you do?" I was just like, I think it's like someone's getting fired tomorrow. Yeah, it's a bit wild.
Yeah, I don't normally talk about myself, but someone at my school for our leavers performed that as a leaving song, and the school were like, "You can't say the fuck words," but he did it anyway. And everyone was like, "Oh!" Like the whole assembly just erupted.
but they do expel him. Like he was leaving anyway.
Day.
You know. Cool. Yeah. It was most worth it.
It was worth it.
So I can drink my tea.
That was really fun. I love that. Should we go to the future?
Go for it.
The first future.
The first future, Fraser. You can go first. I'll return this to you.
Gracious future. The sun again. What?
I like that. I love
so
the
lucky
artwork
today.
on that.
It's really very. Someone said earlier, it's very
striking.
Wicker Man.
Yeah, really
striking.
recommend the wheat. And it's
So I'll read this to you. The sun stands high over the harvest field with wheat sheaves, ripe corn, and cornflowers. Children skip around a maypole in celebration of fertility of the land. The sun stands for power, energy, and creative forces behind the universe. A male sign. It symbolizes confidence and success and a benign influence on all around it. It represents the conscious power of the intellect.
Cool. That sounds all really nice. It seems like warm. I guess that's why it's the sun card. It's like a warm and welcoming
You've
thing.
got two warm cards. You've got Fortune and the Sun. So maybe that is at the end of the staircase.
The sun's at the end of the staircase. I like that. It seems like words you think of to do with the sun are kind of like radiate and warm and stuff like that. So it seems like a nice description of what you'd think it'd be. I got a record recently that's like one of my favourite albums, and in the insert gatefold bit of it, there's a sort of poem written by the artist. It's Robbie Basho, Visions of the Country, like Americana folk thing. And there's a poem at the start of it, and the whole album is like an ode to North America. Like it's wilderness and its vastness and its mountains and all that. And the poem talks about like the sun rising and nurturing the ground, and like then the soil gives to the animals, and you know, it's just this beautiful thing. And like you listen to this album that's amazing and encapsulating. It kind of like makes a lot of sense when you sit and listen to these beautiful songs, and it's like based on this sort of warm sort of country and environment sort of thing. Nice one.
It's really interesting. It's like a very organic, like natural element coming through here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sun is like, it's interesting because it's a positive thing, and it can be a negative thing in that it can like destroy, it can burn.
Scorched earth.
Scorched earth. It can be like an aid to decomposition and things like that. So you've got like the whole cycle with like the roots of the tree and the branches of the tree here. It's very interesting.
maybe the sun will also be our destructor, you know? We're going to get pretty
Oh.
close. We'll get close.
Not melting. Not looking at that brain.
Yeah. Look like one of our backdrops. That'd be awful for people.
Or it could be on brand.
For us.
Sun mulch.
Sun mulch.
Sun mulch. Hope turn to mulch with the sun.
You should make a granola brand and call it Sun Mulch.
I think so. It
That
should
would
be
be
like
great.
granola.
Yeah, Sun Mulch granola.
Sun mulch granola.
It's a kind of brain-like.
Yep. Don't ask what the raisins are.
No ingredient list.
Mulch munch.
Mulch punch.
We're
Mulch
expanding. We're like the new Kiss.
Yeah, why not?
Oh God, does that make me Gene? That makes you Peter Chris. That's even worse. He's a two-stroke shite man. I'm
Who's
just
got
like,
the longest tongue? I guess that's how you determine
I
it.
don't know. There's this Kiss tribute band that we saw as a total aside, and the bass player was. I mean, I'm fat, so I'm just gonna. It's all right because I said it, but the bass player was really, really fat. And me and my pal Mark just shouted Beefy Gene at him all night. And he looked a bit like Paul Hollywood. So he was like a fat, beefy Paul Hollywood. And we were just like, Beefy Gene, Beefy Gene. In between just shouting for songs from The Oath, which no one likes apart from me. Me and my friend Mark are just like, play The Oath. The Elder. Play The Elder. Play The Oath. Beefy Gene, Beefy Gene. And he's just like, Anyway, yeah. So my next card is going to be like the arsehole or something
The
like
beef
that.
card.
I've got the Stranger in reverse.
Stranger in He says he shuffled the deck.
That's it. You had a shuffle it. That's how it's meant to be.
It is how it's meant to be. This is crazy. All the bands are in sync today. Okay, I'll read you the Stranger. Similar vibes, perhaps. Yeah.
Lean in.
So, in shadow, making an entrance in a doorway, stands a character whose sex is ambivalent. The stranger, that's very
Beefy
pregnant pause. This stranger perhaps symbolizes that part of our nature we've shut out, that is now entering us in a surprising way. It is the equivalent to the anima or animus, the excluded part of our psyche that is of the opposite sex to our own. It can also stand for any person we've underrated or neglected, who could prove themselves a force in our lives. Represented here is also the caution and apprehension we feel towards the new people in our lives initially.
Oh, I don't know. Don't know about people. Maybe situations. I think we find ourselves, our band getting more popular, and not to go on about my age, but I thought I'd done with this. Not in a bad way, but like 20 years ago, or like, Age of Taurus was like 14 years ago. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm happy that I've done that. And then it's kind of weird, like, oh, here's this, it comes back again. It's like, to actually, is this what I want to do as a hit, like nearly 50? It's kind of, do I want to win? Do I want to go out? Is this, so sometimes, yeah, it's a bit, I'm not a young man like this rock and roll machine here, like we went on tour and I was like I was ill for a week by the time I came home. Just like, it's that kind of like, I was like, you get through it and then you're home and you're just like, ugh. So maybe that, it's kind of entering the unknown again. It's like, well, it's the known, but the unknown, I suppose. It's still new, but scenarios are kind of, but it's kind of weird. I suppose weird way, because we've played with, I would say the big bands that we were playing with were the big bands that I played with. Age of Taurus played with Carcass,
Yeah.
supported Electric Wizard.
That's so cool.
So that's a weird kind of, yeah, it's kind of like, oh yeah, cool. So yeah, I don't know, it's cool.
So you're trying to...
So there does seem to be like a bit of a resurgence in like the Scottish scene of death metal in particular, like bands like Penny Coffin, Brainbath,
yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like we get asked that question a lot, and it's like I can't answer that for you. I mean, there was bands before us like Scottatura, Party Cannon, like they've been going longer than we have, and they're like, I suppose even like Bleed from Within, Fall Within, that kind of. They've been going for a while, and I don't say that we're not reinventing the wheel of what we do, and it's not. I don't think it's down to us, and I think it's just it all kind of had a bit of inspiration at the one kind of time. It's like anything else. You can't explain why, like in 1982, there was 12 thrash bands in San Francisco, or why is Florida full of death metal bands. So it's just
I think there's something to be said for as well, like Scotland and like where like a lot of the like not every sort of death metal band or heavy band is from Glasgow in Scotland. There's people from all over. Like Rich doesn't live in Glasgow, Al doesn't live in Glasgow. We all just kind of convene there. But Glasgow's like a small place, you know. Scotland's a very small place. There's a lot less people there than there is in larger cities like Manchester, Birmingham, London, down south. So when there's a bit of a, like, there's always been like a really vibrant and thriving music scene. Like, I've always stayed in Glasgow and it's always been amazing there. And as a result, I've ended up playing in a bunch of different sounding bands. I've never been in a death metal band before this. Right now, this is like, with it being a small place, it only takes like a certain percentage or like a certain number of folk to get into playing some death metal or listening to a bit more death metal, going to those kind of gigs, for it to seem like a kind of significant chunk of the like underground and DIY scene there. Like it could be, you know, like between a lot of the like Scottish like heavy and death metal bands that are going on now, there's probably like, if you could name 5 to 10 bands, there's probably 20 people between them, kind of thing. There's a lot of crossover, and those are also the people who are putting on shows, going to every gig. Like people who, if there's like a Glasgow show that we're playing with, Penny Coffin, Brain Bass, something like that, like every cunt's going to be there. Like every cunt's into it.
Sorry, we found there's quite a lot of, I hate to use words, youngsters, but do you know what I mean? Like 15, 16, 17 are coming along, and so we're trying to do things like we played a couple of.
I'm closer to that age than
yeah, that's true. Yeah, like there's people coming who I'm old enough to be your dad, but you know, there's like proper like dad, like, oh yeah, they're 16 and they're going to everything, and they're like buying every band, not just our shirts. We've got loads. Like they're buying Penny Coffin shirts, Brain Bath shirts, Rancid Cadaver shirts. They're going to every show. Like I used to be able to do, 6 shows a week, or they went to our show and then, we're going to go and see this one at night because there was 2 shows in one day, and they just go daft for it, and it's really cool to see. And like some of them are starting bands and stuff now, so that's nice. And I think there's a bit of like, I don't know, I may be wrong in this, so please correct me, but I think sometimes Scotland doesn't acknowledge its heavier bands. I think when people think of Scotland, they think of Belle and Sebastian, and they think of the Jesus and Mary Chain and Teenage Fan Club, Mogwai. It's all like, it's not like, though people love those bands, it's art school and cardigans and haircuts, and it's like, we're partying too, and it's like, we don't want that. You're not really what we want. We want this, like, I really like coffee and blah blah blah. And it's, I don't know, maybe that's just me being old and being like that heavy metal sense of mind where it's like, well, I don't care if you don't like it, I like it. And sometimes you can feel a wee bit, I don't know, being like 13 in 1988 like was an interesting time to like heavy metal in Scotland, as opposed to now it's a bit more open and that kind of thing, as opposed to being like, right, shit, I'm going to try and run down the street before like 10 guys want to beat me up because I've got long hair kind of thing. So there's that element, so you get a bit bloody minded, maybe to my detriment. Sometimes I can be a bit like, they're shite, but like, actually they're really good for kind of Scottish stuff, whereas Serpent Fraser's probably brought up more in an open-minded scene than perhaps I originally was when I was younger.
Different at least.
Yeah, different.
Yeah. But, it's a small place. A lot of people like crossover and fully support that. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Like, what you think like Scottish death metal or anything like that is, it's pretty much like kind of what it is. There's not like a pure iceberg effect of loads of bands that aren't doing stuff. Like, everyone's just quite enthusiastic about what's happening and supporting.
I remember, for me, like being into metal for a considerable time, I remember Man Must Die being a big one.
Yeah.
And Regorge.
Do you ever come?
The album Kingdoms of Derision, and I picked it up in HMV, and I was just like, it was always such a gem to discover like Scottish bands, because it seemed to be more of a rarity back then.
Like Confusion Corporation and like Coexist and some of those kind of, but sometimes people never seem to break out. I think Man Must Die still going.
They played They played the last Damnation before they migrated to Manchester, so they played the last Leeds Damnation.
All right, well there you go. Was your man Daniel for Cradle of Filth? Was he not in them? I think he was in them before he went into Cradle of Filth. Well, that was a weird internal conversation that we had. Sorry.
But the last question from me is I've got to ask, because we've never interviewed, well, we've interviewed Callum from Tyrannus, who's Scottish as well.
Okay.
I've got to ask, what is your opinion on tablet?
Tablet. I love tablet.
So it's just the best. My mum makes the best tablet ever.
My girlfriend's English, so her family came up and I made them all eat tablet, and they were just like, "What is this?" And I was like, "It's just boiled sugar." They're like, "Why are you making us eat this?" And then, have you ever had macaroons? Like not like French macaroons, like Scottish macaroon, like with it's just sugar. And I got that for her mum, and she was just like, "I can't eat that. I'm diabetic." And I was just like, "Tablet? What is tablet?" So it's like, I don't know. It's just boiled sugar. I'll pass it on to you. I don't know if you. Your opinion
Is that a controversial thing to like it, or is it like disliked in
Well, the thing
England?
is, because obviously with me, I was born in London, despite having Scottish parents and like an entirely Scottish family.
Yeah.
But every time I tried to introduce tablet to people from the south, they fucking hated it.
Really, not down. I used to have a real sweet tooth, and I fucking love tablet for sure because it is just high sugar. I don't really eat sweet stuff that much anymore, but I'd be down with it. Like, there's a bit of tablet sitting here, I'd be like, go on. But like, not daft for it. Like when I was a hyperactive 10-year-old, the sugar was like.
My gran made cracked tablet. She used to make it with walnuts in it.
Oh, that's good.
Stuff in tablet, that's very good. Sultanas, walnuts, those kind of things.
I saw Iron Brew tablet in the shop, and I was like,
you go to any sort of like farmer's market, there's usually like a tablet place, and you get that pink icing stuff as well. You ever seen that? Like, it's kind of like the macaroon, but it's just like pink and whites, a pink and white icing. It's just sugar. That's why we don't get anything done, because we've all got like sugar crashes at 10 in the morning. It's just but yeah, I don't know what tablet. I think it's just that people are like, oh, it's like fudge. No, it's not fudge.
Yeah,
it's hard fudge.
Yeah.
It breaks
Fudge
your teeth.
for men.
It's Scottish fudge. It's an endeavour.
It's like what crack is to Coke. That's what tablet is to fudge.
There you go. Maybe that's I'm saying nothing on that. I don't know if I'd want to snort tablet.
I'd give it a bash.
You probably What about your gums? Your teeth instantly collapse. Anyway, yeah.
Well, next time we interview you guys, we'll definitely bring some tablet.
That's fine.
So will we can compare.
We'll
We'll be like
bring some
great
down.
British, great Scottish tablet off.
Great Scottish tablet off.
Yeah.
Do you need anything else? Do you want some like square sausage or a plain loaf?
I have no idea what those words
There
mean.
you go.
Yeah. What's a square?
Non-sausage is the one.
It's basically square. It's square.
Oh,
It's flat sausage that's square.
that sounds fun.
And I don't know how to explain a plain
How'd
loaf.
they make it square?
Because it's mincemeat and they put it in like,
They just.
make it square.
I'm just trying to imagine the process.
And if you're vegetarian or vegan, you can get vegan square sausage.
Hell yeah. Are there other shapes as well? Or just
No,
square?
just square.
Don't fuck with that.
No, it's just square. Like, come on now.
Reinventing the square. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's square in a round roll. What even is that?
So no one cuts the edges
Yeah.
off.
This is the kind of content your people want.
This is what people watch this for.
You bought the sausage card. Well, you're a square sausage, or you're like you call it a link sausage or a long sausage? A link. I had somebody like, I went to a thing and they're like, what kind of sausage do you want, square or long? I was like, I think so.
Don't talk to me about sausage in that way.
Yeah,
is what I'd say
do you
to
want the
them.
long sausage? I was like, I mean, I really just wanted my breakfast, but can I get a tatty scone in it as well? Anyway, yeah. So that's what we've brought. We went from mysticism to Scottish breakfast items. I think so.
Oh, this is
Apologies.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel so educated right
Yeah.
now. This is
Get you
culturally
a
enriching.
mother's pride plain loaf. I can't explain what that is. I don't know, but it's dense. You're bound to have had a plain loaf if your parents are from Scotland with a square sausage and
Cluty dumplings as
dumpling.
well.
Oh Christ! It's just like eating earth.
Yeah.
Scottish foods are just an attrition.
Mulch.
It is, yeah. But full circle Scottish food as well. It makes you feel like mulch, but
There's good mulch and there's bad
it's
mulch.
good mulch.
There's sun mulch.
Sausage mulch.
Sausage mulch.
This is why I'm not allowed to do the interviews.
I think this is great.
Yeah,
This is good.
This is me. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for entertaining our nonsense.
That was fantastic nonsense. I loved it. Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Any
That's
final
awesome.
remarks?
Damnation's excellent.
Damnation's excellent.
Thanks very much for having
Thanks.
us. Thanks very much for having us on
Yeah,
this.
yeah. watching this podcast for more breakfast.
More
I think you
breakfast
should
tips.
incorporate breakfast foods of the world.
I think we should
Yeah,
actually.
like there's probably you interviewed any Americans today.
Oh, yeah.
Ask
What
them
do
what the
you
Brits are.
eat?
Yeah, we've got Kevin.
Kevin.
All right, ask them why they put shitty butter. We've been to a pancake IHOP. Like, what's your... Next time you interview Alistair Riddell, ask him about American butter.
Oh, yeah.
He's not impressed.
We'll have him on like every year at
you
least.
should.
Yeah.
Alistair's butter review.
Alistair's butter review.
Sorry, Alistair.
Butter with Alistair.
Butter with Riddell.
Thank you so much for watching. It's
You're
been
welcome.
great. Feel free to like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.